And welcome, Hoosier fans, to yet another victorious episode of the Doing the Work post-game show as your number fifth seeded Indiana Hoosiers but knocked off our number one seed Ohio State and 70-62 victory, taking Indiana to 22-8 on the season, and even more importantly, getting us into the Big Ten tournament championship game tomorrow. Woo! Big Ten tournament. We're in the championship. What's that feel like? It feels amazing. And I'm your host, Kathy Amos, here with my co-host, Sean Cron. And today we will break it all down for you on this edition of Doing the Work, the new show on the Back Home Network dedicated to covering IU women's basketball. And we will start this show how we start every show, and that is with our banner moment. And Sean, I'm going to go to the very end of the game with 18 seconds left, where Nicole Cardano-Hillary has a bad pass trying to break the press. In all game, we've really had been beating Ohio State's press until that fourth quarter, and really the second half of the fourth quarter. And the team was really just kind of struggling to break that press. And this was another place where Nicole just made a bad pass on that. Luckily, Ohio State misses that bunny underneath, but Nicole, as her usual self, had never given up on the play, gets that defensive rebound for us and is fouled, goes down to the other end and makes both of her free throws, effectively sealing the game for us. And that made it our final score of 70-62. And I like that as our banner moment because it was, again, a place where the team was really struggling, and it really highlighted how Nicole, as her usual self, and the team, as their usual self, never gave up on themselves. And as usual, our banner moment today is brought to you by our friends at Home Field Apparel. They're now in their fifth season of sponsoring the Assembly Call, and their first as the presenting sponsor for the Back Home Network. And did you know that among Home Field's large collection of vintage IU apparel is a shirt commemorating one of the most successful seasons in the history of women's basketball program? It's true. When you go to the IU collection, you'll find a shirt commemorating the 1983 season, when Indiana won the Big Ten title and made its first NCAA appearance. And now, maybe after tomorrow, we can look to Home Field Apparel again and potentially add yet another Indiana women's basketball t-shirt to that collection as well. So go to homefieldapparel.com and use our promo code HOME, H-O-M-E, if it's your first order, and you'll get 15% off. Again, that website is homefieldapparel.com, and the code is HOME, H-O-M-E. Okay, now it's time to move the ball, find the open player, and get some opening thoughts from the rest of my team here today. Again, Jeff's still traveling, so he is not with us today. But again, Sean is here. And Sean, I think we're going to try calling this your summation. So Sean, what's your summation of the game today?
Yeah, I think this was a great overall win for us. As people in the chat are already saying, this is the first time IU has been in a championship game since 2002. So 20 years have gone by since the last time we played in a championship game, and these girls just went out after it from the very tip off. They played hard. They were the last couple nights we said they had to do some different things if they wanted to advance, and they did that. We'll talk about it more throughout the program tonight, but as far as turnovers and shooting, both of those they improved on both of those numbers tonight. And I was really nervous about this game with the news about Alexa early on being sick, but the team fought through it. They all played together, and this was a great win for us.
Yep, absolutely. And pardon our dog. Oh, I think we have a tornado warning here as well. Sorry. All right. Sorry about that, everyone. Welcome to Iowa in the Midwest. Okay. My goodness. Now I'm all flustered. So let me go. Okay. Here we go. As we continue our breakdown of Indiana's win over Ohio State, we will point out today's meaningful moments you might have missed, and then we will go inside the numbers to highlight the most important statistical notes from the game. You are listening to the Doing the Work post-game show. Okay, I'm Kathy Amos, and I'm here with my co-host Sean Cron, and we are breaking down Indiana's win today over Ohio State. Now it's time for meaningful moments that you might have missed. So let's start with the first quarter. Sean, what do you have in that first quarter?
I thought the first quarter, first thing I had was our very first drive of the game by Chloe Moore McNeil. She started off with a layup, went to the hoop, real aggressive, and started off with a layup. Since it was her second start ever, and since she came in for Alexa, and she started us off really well. She came down, hit a layup, and then couple minutes later at the 7:18 mark, she ended up hitting a 3 for us. So, you could tell with Chloe, early on that her confidence was flowing.
Yeah, I had that exact same play written down. So that was right off of the bat. So it was really great to see, 20 seconds into the game after she got the start, that she was going to come out and be aggressive like that. So continuing on in that first quarter, I thought another good sign for us coming right out was at the 7:52 mark, we had a nice transition 3 from Allie. She hit that and put us up 7-4, and this was just really indicative where, Allie had that first game in the Big Ten tournament where she was just on fire. She had a very good game, solid game from us yesterday, and she continued her play, I thought, onto today. So I had that written down as well for something that was really good. So, okay, hopefully we'll get through the show because our sirens are going off now. Cool. This is fun. Okay, Sean, what else do you have in the first quarter?
This is what you get by doing a live show. This isn't edited, people. So yeah, the other points I wanted to point out in the first quarter was that Ohio State was pressing. They were pressing throughout the entire game. So later on in the fourth quarter, it definitely picked up. It seemed, but they were pressing the entire game, and IU was doing a really good job from the very beginning of this game at breaking that press. So they were keeping, as one of the commentators said, they're keeping the ball inside in the middle and not getting on the outside and getting trapped along that out of bounds lane. So I thought, or the sideline. So I thought that was really, really good.
Yeah, absolutely. So maybe we'll make this a condensed, quarter by quarter to make sure that we can stay online and get through everything.
This doesn't end up like the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, good thing we're not in Kansas. All right, cool. All right, so I do feel like I want to point out one of the last plays I wanted to point out myself in the first quarter was at 2:17 when Ariel Wisney came in, and again she needed to come in. We had Alexa who was sick today. She did get some minutes, but clearly not the normal Alexa that we see. She ended up with only 14 minutes, and Keandra Brown didn't play at all today, so I'm assuming again her hip is still bothering her. So Ariel gave us a nice 5 minutes, but at the 2:17 mark, she actually got a great block on Beecham. And I thought that was just really nice to see, so that, she ended up with that block as well as 2 rebounds in her stat line today. So it wasn't that she was just in being a body and giving people rest. I thought she actually did some nice contributions today in her 5 minutes. But any thoughts on the 5 minutes from Wisney?
Yeah, I thought she played well. Like you had said, she came in and actually contributed tonight, and it showed. She had that good block. She had a couple rebounds also. So yeah, she did a really excellent job.
Yeah, I agree. So anything else exciting for you in the first half or quarter rather you want to point out?
I think the only other thing I wanted to point out was our 3-point shooting in that first quarter. We were 3 for 3 from 3-point land, and Ohio State was 1 for 4. And I believe Ohio State, they've got Taylor Mikesell on the program, who is 47% from the 3-point and leads the Big Ten. So we'll talk more about that later on.
Yeah, I think we'll talk about her and our defense overall for sure when we get to inside the numbers. So I'll move us on to the second quarter then and start us off. I wrote down at the 9:15 mark. That was a very important mark because you could tell I thought the team made a conscious effort to get the ball into Mac. She didn't score at all in the first quarter, but immediately at 9:15 made her first field goal. And I wrote down, can we get Mackenzie Holmes going? And I thought it was a nice solid game for Mackenzie as well. She ended up with 12 points on the game and had 3 rebounds to contribute and as well as a block. So overall, I thought it was a nice solid game for Mackenzie, and you could tell that the team in that second quarter was going to start looking for her maybe a little bit more. What do you have in the second?
You know, one of the big things I saw in the second was at the 7:50 mark, Nicole ended up breaking up a pass and causing a turnover, and then they're able to pass it down the floor and get a layup right away. And so it was just a good defense to offense play right there.
Yeah, absolutely. So important thing to note at the 5:22 mark, that's when Alexa first checked in for us. So again, it was one of those things we had heard that she was not going to play, then it wasn't she wasn't starting, and we had heard different things, at least I had seen on Twitter. Some things saying she hadn't even dressed, some that she warmed up but she didn't, and it was very confusing. And so it was nice to see Alexa checking in there at that 5:22 mark. So for those of you that might not have heard for sure, she did have a non-COVID related illness. But obviously it didn't keep her completely out of the game. So it was nice to see Alexa jump into the game. So continuing on.
Not signed up for Alexa calling. Granted, you dropped me.
So continuing on with my Mackenzie Holmes item at the 4:40 mark, I thought Mackenzie was actually looked a little slow and a little tired, and she was coming down. And there was actually a pass from the wing that was trying to get it back out to the point guard that actually ended up hitting Mackenzie. And I just thought it was a place in the game where it was actually uncharacteristic of the team being a bit unfocused, where Mackenzie was a little slow coming down. The pass hitter, it actually led to an Ohio State bucket on the end with a foul and made a and one for them and got them to 29-24, which then led promptly into the other end where we had a turnover, and Ohio State got another bucket and came within 3 at 29-26. So I thought that was a sequence where overall the game was very well executed again by Indiana, but that small sequence I thought just showed a little bit of unfocusedness. But again, just like Coach Tonsoni on the assembly call likes to say, you coach to perfection, you'll never get there. And I think that would be an instance here where, I'm probably nitpicking, but just kind of picking out some things to talk through. But what else do you have in the second?
So at the 2:08 mark, there was another, the IU broke up a pass, and once again, it was I wrote down, this is just a beautiful play. It was, Grace had the ball at almost at the free throw line on the other side of the court, made a long pass to Allie. Allie was able to get it down low to Mac and for an easy layup, and the ball never touched the floor.
Yeah.
And it was such a pretty play, and the girls were just spot on, just communicating, and it was really a great play for them, and really set the tone, I think.
Yeah, great execution there. I agree. I have that one. And then another one where I thought was just a really good execution was at the 3:48 mark, where again they're focusing on getting the ball this down low. This time they get it down to Alexa Gulbe. She passes it right back out to Allie, who because they had collapsed down on her. Allie was open for the 3. She makes it, and it got us back up to 32-26. And then followed not too long by that, about 2.5 minute mark left, and Chloe McNeil ended up driving the baseline for 2. Overall, I thought the start for Chloe was actually a really strong first half. She was really good in that first half. She ended up with 11 points in the first half. That's what she ended up with in the entire game. But, coming in and starting, you never know if she'd have some jitters since it's not normally a role that she played. I thought that Chloe had just a really superb first half, but again, for only her second start of her career. But any thoughts on the second quarter that you'd like to add?
I think that's all I have written down.
Okay, so the team would go into halftime up 8, 38-30. They outscored Ohio State in both quarters by 4, giving them that 8-point advantage. So going right into the third quarter, again, we went right back to Mac at the 15 seconds into it, and then going in there for 2. In fact, both of our first 2 possessions for that quarter were down to Mac for both of them to open up. And then another bucket after that, and we ended up opening up on a 6-2 run in that third quarter that forced Ohio State timeout. So what do you have in the third quarter?
Yeah, I thought that was a great start to the third quarter, and being able to force them to take a timeout to kind of settle their players down. But then the other thing I had was that their center Mikolikova ended up getting their third foul at the 6:51 mark, and so they had to take her out right away. And then at the 5:15 mark, Alexa ended up hitting a turnaround jumper for her first 2 points of the game.
Yeah, I had that one written down too. It made it 48-37, so a nice double-digit lead there for the team. The other nice, again, it's such a patented move. I feel like it should at least have a patent from Grace Berger. So at the 2:30 mark, she had the ball again out on the wing. She had a beautiful behind the back dribble and got into the lane with a beautiful little pull-up jumper. And I wrote that one down, not because it was something we haven't seen from Grace before, but it was actually something that stopped an Ohio State run. So after that 48-37 lead, Ohio State would go on a bit of a run. That stopped it and got the lead back to 51-44. What else do you have in the third quarter?
One of the things I wanted to talk about was that, during halftime or actually in that third quarter, they were showing Coach Morin in the huddle, and they were talking about she wanted them to slow down, slowed the offense down. And you could see them that they actually did that. They slowed the offense down, took their time, passed the ball around. They were doing a really good job about moving the ball around tonight.
Yeah, and that was something we talked about last night on the, kind of lingering questions. Would they be able to control the pace of play? So I think that was a great segue, Sean, that you have to maybe go ahead and talk a little bit about our defense overall again. We talked yesterday about our defense against Maryland. Again, we have Ohio State coming in where they have two players that average 19 points. As a team, they average just under 80 points per game. We held them to 62 points. We held their 2 leading scorers to 22 and 12. So J.C. Sheldon did end up with 22 points, but Mike Sell ended up with only 12. So I thought, again, we had, just kind of a good focus overall on our defense, and it looked really dialed in today. Any thoughts overall on the defense today?
Yeah, I thought they did really well. They were fighting for the rebounds and, down low, got a lot, actually, got a lot of boards, and they were contesting every shot. I think we were, there was one shot that I believe Mike Sell made, and that it was a good 3-pointer, but their commentators said, well, it was an uncontested shot. Well, no, Nikki was right in her face, but and Nikki was all over the place tonight. I mean, she was just getting in there, grabbing rebounds. She was just playing great defense as well as everybody else. So it was a great defensive effort.
Yeah, and again, the theme that it seems that we've had in this tourney is our 3-point defense in particular, and against teams that are actually really fairly good 3-point shooting teams. So Ohio State was definitely one of those teams coming in. In the first half, Ohio State only shot 9% from threes, and then overall 19%. So keeping a team like Ohio State not only well below their scoring average for the game, but also I thought in a 3-point percentage was really spot on. So
yeah, and it's been a trend of how IU has played in this Big Ten championship, because I think they said against Rutgers they were 2 of 10. Against Maryland they're 0 for 12, and tonight Ohio State was only 4 of 21. So
right, absolutely.
3-point shooting was defense was really spot on.
Yeah. The last thing I wanted to mention before we officially leave the third quarter was just the foul trouble that Ohio State was getting in, specifically with their post players. So Beecham had 4 fouls. She comes in normally off the bench. She was in there because of Mike Kula. I'm never going to be able to say her name. Skykova, excuse me. I'm so sorry to her for butchering her name, but she had 3 fouls to end that third quarter. So anything else on the third before we jump into the final quarter of the game?
I think the big other thing I wanted to point out was in the third quarter, Mac was really starting to heat up in the third quarter. She ended up having 8 of her points in the third quarter alone. So I mean, she was really starting to heat up at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, great. Let's jump into the fourth quarter. I'm going to again continue with the theme that we started to see at the beginning of the second and the third quarter. Fourth quarter, we again go in down low to Mac. This time she doesn't score. Instead, they collapse down on her, but she got the ball out to Nikki, who hit a 3, and then we went up 60-48. So again, it was a nice way to start that fourth quarter. And then I wrote down again, 5:40 mark. Again, Mackenzie gets the ball down low. And that's the nice thing with our team. They're never selfish and only looking for their own shot. She gets it back out to Gulbe this time, who had got the basket for 2, and that made it 64-53. What do you have in the fourth?
Yeah, I noted down the 6:02 mark. Nikki ended up going up and getting a defensive rebound, and that sealed the deal for her for a double-double. She ended up at that point I think she ended up having 12 points and 10 rebounds at that point for a double-double. And then at the 4:24 mark, we forced Ohio State into a shot clock violation. So once again, our defense stepping up and forcing Ohio State to turn over the ball.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I thought, again, I mentioned in my banner moment, we were really kind of struggling here with the press in this quarter. So we came off of the third quarter with 0 turnovers. So we had 5 at the half, none in the third quarter, and then we ended up getting 7, I believe, in that fourth quarter. So I thought the turnover bug kind of hit us a bit in that fourth quarter. Some of it absolutely is attributed to Ohio State's pressure that they put on us from a press perspective. They had been pressing us all game, but I thought that the intensity of Ohio State's press really ratcheted up. And we were really struggling with that. We were getting the ball more on the sidelines. We were having trouble getting the ball across the timeline. I know we had at least one 10-second violation. We came really close on a number of other possessions. So I think that was kind of the theme of that fourth quarter, where especially, Ohio State started making that run there towards the end. It started to get a little nervousness for us again. But, as the team, I think, again, good testament to them, their leadership and their senior leader experience. What else do you have in the fourth quarter?
Yeah, I think, a couple of things I had noticed was Chloe Moore McNeil ended up getting fouled at the 2:47 point and missed both of her free throws. And then a short time later, Grace, did the same thing. She got fouled and missed both of her free throws. So it's one of those things that you hate to see down the stretch, because we need every one of those points, but they were in the end they were able to pull out a victory and seal the deal.
Yeah, I agree. I think so. Again, Ohio State did make that run. It was a 7-0 run that lasted up until the 33, actually the 18-second mark, when Nikki made those free throws. So again, I felt like, they calmed down. The coach, I thought Coach Morin took some really well-timed timeouts again. Overall thoughts from the game, I thought that the substitution pattern, again, was very well thought out by the coach. Again, we didn't have our normal starting 5. We're out without Keandra Brown. But again, I thought that, as we talked about yesterday, it was a game where we saw really good execution from our team, as well as really good coaching moments from our coach. But what are your overall thoughts on the game today?
Yeah, my overall thoughts, like you said, I think the substitution was really, pattern was really good. The defense was excellent tonight. The offense was really good. They're continuing to move the ball around and find the open person. They're not standing around. They're moving, and it's fun to watch. And so I thought they did excellent tonight. Played a really solid game, and see if they can continue it tomorrow.
Yeah, I agree. So in case we need another phrase, so we have doing the work from Coach Moore, and she also likes to call it sharing the sugar when
Yes.
the girls and the women are passing the ball around and really finding the open person. So I thought, again, we saw that tonight, and maybe this is a great time to go inside the numbers. So do you want to kick us off with some stats?
Yeah, I think the stat I want to start with is our three-point shooting tonight. We ended up shooting 50% from three-pointers tonight. We were 5 of 10. So I believe Allie led us in that category tonight. She shot 3 of 7. Yeah, I think our three-point shooting was excellent, and especially compared to their three-point shooting, which was only 19%. They only were 4 of 21.
Yeah, I would agree. And just overall, our shooting was really spot on. So in the first half, we shot 50% from the field and held them to 44%. Final, we ended up shooting 45% and held them to 42%. But I think not just important were the field goal percentages, but the assists that we had as well. So we ended up with 20 assists on the game. 20 assists on the game. I just wanted to say that one more time. 20 assists on 24 made field goals.
Right. Yeah, that's huge.
You can't ask for a better ratio, I think, and in my opinion, than that. The other kind of stats that I like to look at, of course, are turnovers. I mentioned ours already throughout the game. So we ended up the game with 11 turnovers. We forced 10. So 11 is our average that we kind of shoot for anyway, our team goal. The problem, I think, with our turnovers is that the bulk of them came in that fourth quarter when it came down to crunch time. Again, we talked about that when we went through the meaningful moments. The good thing is that Ohio State only turned those into 11 turnovers. Our points off of turnovers, we did turn their 10 into 14 points. So what other numbers do you have?
I wanted to look at the free throw shooting. We shot 74% tonight from the line, but we made 17 of 23. Ohio State shot 100% from the line, but they only attempted 4 shots. So I mean, you always want to, they always say you want to make more free throws than your opponent shoots, but we quadrupled that tonight. So I mean, that was I think that was outstanding.
Yeah, I agree. I had that exact same one written down as well. The other one too to kind of look at here were total rebounds. We did out rebound them tonight. So 37 rebounds for us to their 30, and 30 of those 37 were defensive rebounds for us. So nothing too glaring, I thought, in terms of things we've kind of been watching for with them in the last couple of games. Offensive rebounds, we beat them as well, 7-5, and beat them 7-2 in second chance points. And the same thing, points in the paint and bench points for that matter, were both pretty much even between the teams. So statistically, if you're looking at what really drew us apart in this game, I really think it was our field goal percentage, the 3-point shooting, and free throws, the things that we've really mentioned. But what else from a team stat perspective for either team?
I think that's about all I had, I believe. And I want to touch base on the turnovers that you had mentioned earlier. Yeah. 11 turnovers tonight, compared to the last couple of games we played. We had 16 and 18 the last couple of games. So that was a huge improvement there.
Yeah, I agree. So cool. Let's talk some individual stats. So I think I will kick us off if you don't mind. And I am going to start with Nicole Cardano Hillary, and I'm just going to read her stat line and let it sit there for us all to admire. She had 16 points on 5 of 12 shooting, including 1 of 2 from the threes. She had 5 of 7 free throws. She had 11 rebounds, 5 assists, only 2 fouls, and only 2 turnovers, and 1 steal. That's a game we've been asking Nikki here the last couple of games. She has really been turnover prone. And then she came back tonight, and especially in a team that was pressing like Ohio State does. And now, granted, Grace Berger, I think, was doing most of the ball handling, bringing it up, but still Nikki had the ball in her hand a lot. Only 2 turnovers. She was her usual tenacious self, I thought, in not just steals, but really hitting those rebounds. She had the team high with 11 rebounds. The next closest behind that was Grace Berger at 6. Any overall thoughts about Nikki's play today?
Yeah, I thought Nikki had a great game tonight. Getting a double-double. She crashed the boards. And she was her pesky self on defense again. But that that the 11 boards it continues to amaze me how good of a rebounder she is. I mean, she's in there every night, just going up against the bigs, and and she comes away successful every time.
Yeah, she's a pest on defense, and she's a pest hitting the boards, right?
That's right.
So great. How about you? What else do you see there from an individual perspective you want to jump out at?
Yeah, I wanted to look at Grace tonight. Grace ended up with 10 points. She was only 3 of 10 for field goal, but she was 4 of 6 from the free throw line, and she did have 6 rebounds and 7 assists. So she was handling the ball a lot tonight, and those 7 assists really show that.
Yeah, I agree. She didn't have, she still ended up with double-digit points with 10 points, but she was finding the open player there again, and second on the team with 6 rebounds as well, and only 2 turnovers. So, and I'm quite sure, I think both of those might have came in the fourth quarter actually.
Yeah, I think so. When they were
nope, just one.
Just
Sorry.
one. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. The other person, of course, I think we really should mention is Allie Papberg here tonight. Allie, again, had 3 3-pointers for us. She ended up with 15 points. She was 6 of 12 shooting, so 50% overall on her shooting. She also had 3 assists. Again, the team I thought was really, really moving the ball well. And so when you have 20 assists as a team, and it wasn't just loaded onto one person here, it was really spread around by everyone. And again, only 2 turnovers, and she had 38 minutes, including a block and a steal, which, I don't necessarily think that blocking is something we see from Allie quite often. To see that show up in the stat line, I thought overall from Allie, it was pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely.
There she goes.
There goes our dogs. So.
Sorry. All right. Anyone else you want to point out? We talked already a little bit about Chloe, but maybe anything else you see on her stat line?
Yeah, I think Chloe had a really good night. She ended up with 11 points, 3 of 5 shooting. Made one. She was 1 for 1 from 3-pointers and 4 of 6 from free throws. She also had 3 rebounds. And 2 assists. That she did also have 4 turnovers, but like you were saying earlier, I think a lot of those came, in the fourth quarter as Ohio State was continuing to pressure more and causing some turnovers.
Yep, and then our last starter we haven't talked about is Mackenzie Holmes. Again, so all 5 of our starters ended up with 12. With double-digit points. She ended up with 12. Again, 5 of 12 shooting, made both of her free throws, 3 rebounds. So as mentioned, I think that yes, it was Toto barking at the tornado. Joe, I'm not sure what's got her all worked up. So so anyway, Mackenzie again, 28 points tonight. So that came following up a 30-minute game yesterday. Did I say 28 points or 28 minutes?
Yeah, I think you said 28 points.
Okay, well, she had 28 minutes. Yesterday she had 30. This might not be our most stellar game, but we're dealing with a lot of distractions between tornadoes and dogs and hoping sirens going off again. Neato. Anyways.
At least we're in the basement already.
We are in the basement in case anyone was worried about us. So yeah, again, just overall from our starters, all 5 starters in double-digit points, and then Alexa coming in off of the bench. Again, she was sick tonight, still contributed 6 points and assists, and ended up playing 14 minutes. So, not, I don't know that I would say it was her best game, and I wouldn't expect it because after what we were hearing pregame, I don't think we were expecting her to play at all. So I'm just really appreciate Alexa getting out this game tonight. All right, anything else on statistics or any other storylines from this game specifically?
I think that's it. That's all I had, I believe.
Okay, well, I think we'll move along then. So you're listening to the Doing the Work IU post-game show. You can catch us live following all IU women's games, and you can find us at our website, assemblycall.com. Also, make sure to sign up for our free IU Hoops newsletter. You can find that at join.assemblycall.com. And again, I'm Kathy Amos here with my co-host Sean Cron, and we're breaking down our Indiana's win over Ohio State. So I think, Sean, we'll just quickly go around for game balls. What do you have?
My game ball is going to Nikki tonight. Like we had said, she had an outstanding game, ended up with a double-double. 5 assists, 11 rebounds, 16 points, and 1 steal. So I think she deserves it tonight, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I wrote down Nikki before the game was even over, so I absolutely second that. Nikki double, and we've already talked about her tenacity, and again, just doing the stuff that you don't see in the stat lines as well. So that makes the game balls now 7 for Grace, 4 for Mac, 4 for Nikki, 4 for Allie, and 2 for Alexa. Okay, let's move on to our Hoosier Hustle Award. Sean, who do you have down for your Hoosier Hustle?
You know, I'm gonna pick Alexa for this one tonight. I know she wasn't out there very much. She only had 6 points, 2 of 4 shooting, 2 of 2 from free throws, and she had 1 assist. She only played 14 minutes, but she was also sick. You know, we weren't expecting her to play, so I think we got to handle it. I'm going with Alexa tonight.
Okay, well, we'll see if anybody in our chat wants to jump in and give us a Hoosier Hustle vote, because I actually wrote down Chloe Moore McNeil. I was really impressed with her making a start for us. She ended up with double digits again for us with 11 points, and just overall, I thought she had a nice game. Now, I know scoring wise, all 11 came in her first half. You know, she did miss those 2 in the second, 2 free throws in the second. But I thought her defense was really quite spot on, as well as a lot of the other things that she was doing that don't necessarily show up. I thought she was cutting really hard. I thought she was aggressive. She also ended up with, you know, a couple of assists there. So I liked Chloe Moore McNeil as well. So
yeah, I think you can't go wrong with that pick either.
All right, let's see. All right, so we got Chloe for Hoosier Hustle from John. We have Richie who has Chloe or Grace. Steve said Nikki, but Nikki already got the game ball, so she can't go both. Sorry. And then Joe also said Alexa. So I think I saw a couple other Chloe Moore McNeils in there.
Yeah.
So I think we'll give it to Chloe then. So congratulations to Chloe again on getting that start. It hasn't happened, I don't believe, this year, but it was her second start. So maybe she started last year. But regardless, that was her 6th Hoosier Hustle Award. That takes our total for the year to 5 for Grace, 4 for Nikki, and then 1 each for Mackenzie, Keandra, Alexa, Grace Wagner, Caitlin, and Allie. Okay, any other lingering storylines, Sean, you think we didn't hit on yet for this game specifically?
You know, I think it's just you know, once again, I think it was an all-around good effort by the girls, good game. And I just hope they can continue it into tomorrow. Okay,
so Richie is correcting me. He evidently, Chloe did start earlier this year. So thanks, Richie. My memory sometimes fails me, so appreciate that. Okay, so let's preview our upcoming show. I can't preview the opponents because we don't know who it is. Iowa and Nebraska are playing right now. We will play the winner of that game tomorrow. I believe that game is at 4 Eastern. Yes, 4 Eastern, 3 Central. We do plan on going live right after that game is over. So hopefully it will be a 4th victorious episode in a row. And if so, that will be the first time we've won this tournament since 2002. And this is our first time we're in the championship game at all. So hopefully everyone will tune in. That game will be, I believe, on Big Ten Network. No, I'm sorry. It's on ESPN2 this time. So hopefully everyone gets the word out to their friends, make some time in their Sunday afternoon and really cheer on these girls from afar if you can't be there in person. Again, I'd encourage you, if you're anywhere in the Indianapolis area, to try to get some tickets and go and support them. They've had a really fantastic run. And I think that will lead us into kind of our lingering questions and last call. So lingering question for me, I think, is just, do they have enough in them to get through a 4th game in a row like this? You know, we've seen, again, a lot of minutes from a lot of our starters. Every one of our starters today played, except for Mackenzie, who played 28. They all played 37 or more. And then now on top of it, we have Alexa, who has got some kind of illness. So I'm also a little concerned about how banged up they might be. We know Grace was holding her shoulder for a while. She seemed to be okay, but she definitely looked to be in some kind of pain. And of course, we know Grace Wagner, who hasn't played a whole lot. She played 2 minutes, but we always see her with that back support on. So she's got some kind of back injury or issue that she's been dealing with all year. And then Keandra Brown with her hip injury. So, the girls are really banged up, and they've had a lot of playing time. So, oh, John, yeah, thanks. Let's see what you got going on here. Yeah, oh, I think I hit all of them too. So yes, lingering storyline, injury. Are they able to get through a 4th game in a row, and will they have the legs for it? Yep. So Ari's telling us that there's definitely a bigger crowd today, so that's good. The lower level was pretty clear, close to full, and there was some even up in the upper level. So hopefully we'll see even a bigger turnout tomorrow. So, Sean, any lingering storylines I haven't talked about while our lights start to flicker?
No, I think you covered it. Yeah, our lights are flickering here, so I'm hoping that we're not in another tornado watch, and
we are
tomorrow. So
right. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and wrap it up then before Mother Nature wraps it up for us. So, how about you go first and give us your closing thoughts for today?
Yeah, my closing thoughts are just simply, I think this was an excellent game. The girls played really well tonight. They offensively, I can't really ask much better of them. They got the turnovers down. I just hope that they can. I just hope that they can get healthy, and hopefully this fatigue doesn't set in. I hope they just got one more game in them.
Yeah.
To bring this championship, Big Ten championship banner home.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, this was the goal, one of the goals, not the goal.
Right.
One of the goals for the team earlier in this year was to get a Big Ten championship. They couldn't do that in the regular season for a whole host of reasons that we've already talked about. We won't go into them again, but boy, they have it right there at their fingertips tomorrow. So I'm hoping right now they're all relaxing, maybe getting some good massages, hitting the whirlpool, and whatever other kind of rehab treatment they have at their disposal tonight. So they seem to be coming along, but we got to nurse those injuries. One other programming note I should point out, so selection is for the NCAA tournament will be next Sunday, the 13th. Usually they do a selection show for the women on Monday. This year they are doing the selection show for men on Sunday, and then following it up with the women right after. So I believe that will start at 8 Eastern and 7 Central. Might double check me just to make sure that the articles I've read are not wrong. But for those of you that are in our private community for Assembly Call, we will be hosting a virtual happy hour to watch the bracket reveal. So if you're not a member of our private community, I would very much encourage you to go out to the Assembly Call website and try to find out how to join sorry, we just started our lights flicker and it distracted me. So try to figure out how to join our private community there. It's a lot of fun. We talk men's basketball, we talk women's basketball, and we talk anything really IU related sports. Ari Schifrin does a great job always doing a nice recap of articles for all sports, non-men basketball related. So he has great women's basketball coverage, but other sports as well. But we do these virtual happy hours from time to time. So as a community, we will be having a virtual happy hour to watch the reveal of our bracket, which I think is the next storyline we should probably hit before we call it a night, which is if yesterday's win didn't do it, I'm quite confident and feel pretty good that today's win did at least get us into one of those top 4 seeds that will give them some home games during the NCAA tournament. I would expect actually that this win in particular would move us potentially to a 3 line, maybe a 2, depending on what other teams above us and below us are doing, of course. But this is really important for our seeding, as well as just the confidence of the women going into the tournament and really getting that flow back into going into postseason. But I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. We have one more game tomorrow. So again, just a reminder, that game is on ESPN2 tomorrow. We play the winner of Iowa and Nebraska. It will be on at 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 o'clock Central, and we will be back here to hopefully celebrate a Big Ten title with you. And for that, I think it will do it, everyone. So thanks for joining us. Happy Saturday to all of you out there in the chat. And those listening to us later on whatever podcast that you like to subscribe to or through YouTube. And if you do want to see us do the show live, please be a part of the live chat and make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/assemblycall. And until then, keep your elbows in and your eyes on the rim and go Hoosiers. All right, so that's it. Thanks, everyone. Sorry for all of the kind of glitches. And yeah, this is our dog. She even has her little jersey on today. She's getting pretty scared from all of the thunder, and so it was just easier to put her on my lap. So thanks for letting us have a little guest on today. Thanks for staying with us. But yeah, happy Saturday, everyone. Thanks again for joining. Thanks for listening. And we'll see you back here tomorrow. Take care.
All right. Have a good night.